Have you ever felt like the quality of your customer service or customer experience drops the moment you step away? Or even better, maybe it's only great when that rockstar employee is involved. Have you? But here is the frustrating part that I see all the time. You've probably hired the right people, you've trained them, okay? You've set expectations. And yet, and yet, without you or that rockstar employee being involved, standards somehow drift. And in my experience, most founders and leaders often think that means they need better people. They need better people. But here's the uncomfortable truth: if excellence depends on you or a few star rock stars, I'm sorry to tell you, but your business is fragile. So, in this video, I'll show you why service quality is not a talent issue, it's actually a structural one. And I will show you how you can do and what scalable businesses do instead. This is exactly how I help my client who are making $2 to $10 million through client retention systems remove dependency from the client experience and delivery. As a result, they focus on building systems. So if you are building a real business, like a real service organization for that matter, I can guarantee you that this tension that you feel right now with your team, with your employees, is normal. And here's why. You care about excellence as a business owner, a business leader. You care about standards. You want to provide the same experience. And more so, you've built this thing, this business from scratch. And it's your baby. I get that. So, of course, it's frustrating when your team doesn't execute at your level. And I want to assure you that that doesn't make you controlling as a business owner. It actually makes you invested. And the real frustration is not that your team is bad. It's absolutely not. It's this: you don't trust the output unless you are involved. And that's the problem. You review everything, you double check everything because you want to make sure it's right. And so you step in to save project when you don't have to, not at this stage of your business. And so deep down, you are thinking, if I just had better people. And this wouldn't be happening only if you had better people. That belief, which I agree, feels logical, but it's wrong. And here's why. As you scale past 10 people, 20, 50, complexity multiply. It just is. It's just a natural progression. Communication breaks, standards drift, okay? Assumptions and work interpretations begin to stack up because you've delegated. On and off in time, you delegate without systems. So if excellence depends on one or two high performance, it means this. It means this. You don't have a scalable organization. You have concentrated talent risk. And that's the problem. And that risk will eventually stall your growth if you don't work on building systems. And that's where I see many businesses get stuck and stay in this wheel forever. Many may not know this about Southwest Airlines, okay? But in the early days, their turnaround times were terrible. And as you know, in the airline industry, turnaround time is everything in that industry. On time arrival, the crew gets in, the flight ready for the next flight, the plane's ready for the next flight. But they were terrible. Do you think they fired everyone and said, no, you guys are the wrong people? No, of course not. They realized they had the wrong system. And so what did they do? They studied the NASCAR pit crews, an industry outside aviation. And that's the thing. Sometimes you have to go as far outside your industry to find a solution. And because of that, South was studying that learn what the NASCAR pit crews were doing, were able to redesign their system. They designed their turnaround process based on those systems, based on systems, not personality. And that structural shift made them more profitable than all the big airlines combined. That's the power of having a system. They didn't hire unicorns. They engineered repeatability because they understood this, which most businesses miss. Alignment is better than agreement. And that's what you have to understand. It's not about the people, it's about the systems around them. So here's a framework to scale excellence, to scale service excellence. It comes in 3 steps. You have to have talent, you have to have standards, and you have to have an execution infrastructure. Most founders and leaders obsess over the first layer, which is the talent. But scalable companies build layer 3, which is the execution infrastructure, because that's where everything begins. So now let's break it down, starting with talent. Yes, talent is important. Yes, you need capable people. But talent without structure creates chaos. It's the fact. Because hiring A players and expecting them to figure it out doesn't work. They cannot figure it out. Because that only creates inconsistent delivery, because they are trying to figure it out. It creates conflicting interpretations of excellence, because you never define what that is, which then leads to cultural drift, a main problem. Because talent amplifies the system it enters. If the system is unclear, you amplify confusion. That's just the fact. So now let's move into the second layer and let's talk about standards. And this is where many businesses, many leaders stop. They stop at the talent thinking it's a people problem. And so they say, we value excellence. We care about client experience. We are customer centric. What does that even mean? Because all these things doesn't say anything about your standard. They are just slogans. A standard, however, answers these questions. What does great look like? What does unacceptable or acceptable look like within our company? And what happens when it slips? Because that's what it's about. And without clarity, people default to their personal definition of good. And that's what I see all the time with most businesses. And that's why most struggle with service inconsistency. Because if you don't define it, they will decide it. Service execution infrastructure is an invisible layer. This is where playbooks come into play. You have to clearly define what that looks like. So that can look like checklists, defined workflows, response time policies, escalation processes, okay? Redundancy plans, whatever that looks like. But you have to create the standard. Because if you don't create a standard, there's no way you can put that execution infrastructure in place. I had a barber once, great at what he did, and I booked an appointment with him, okay, the night before. And 30 minutes before my appointment, he texts me, I'm out of the shop. We need to reschedule. Keep in mind, at that time, I was already on my way for my appointment. So 30 minutes into it, I was desperate. And so I text him back immediately, asking, what time do you have in mind? No response. So I got to the shop. His staff assumes he knows I'm coming because I had an appointment. Rightly so. And so I waited 35 minutes, never heard back from him. No communication, no backup process or systems to make up for the mistake. And no ownership of my wasted time or the situation, even when I brought it up, which is the frustrating part about it all for me. He wasn't bad at cutting hair. He lacked an execution infrastructure. That's the problem. Having standards is not enough. You have to take it to the next level. And so as a result, for me with this barber, I became a lost customer. simply not because of his skill or lack thereof, but because of structures. I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel he respected my time. And so I didn't think I should give my loyalty to him. This happens a lot in most businesses because you don't lose clients because your team is incompetent. You lose them because your systems doesn't protect the client experience. That's the problem. And it's a well understood problem. And that's frustrating. And you're not frustrated because your team is incapable. No. You're frustrated because you care about excellence more than your system currently enforces it. And that frustration, the fact that your team cannot deliver at that same level that you do, is frustrating. And I'm here to tell you that that is fixable. Because if service excellence depends on a personality, it will disappear when that personality leaves, when that person leaves. And that's why service excellence is not about people, it's about systems. Because systems preserve excellence, people express it. So ask yourself these questions. If your best employee quit today, tomorrow, would your service quality survive? Would it remain the same? Also, can a new hire execute within 30 days without constant correction, constant oversight? And finally, does your company define service excellence operationally or emotionally? Because there's a difference. You have to clearly define it, because if not, they are going to decide it. And if the answers to these are uncomfortable, you don't need better people. It's clear you need a better infrastructure. You need a better system. That's the whole point. This is something that I go much deeper inside the client retention masterclass, especially how to build execution infrastructure without micromanaging your team. So you can have that peace of mind because you have clearly defined what that looks like within your organization. Also, if this exposed something for you, the next step isn't hiring. It's not. It's about auditing your current systems. Can it support your goals as an organization? I've put together a framework inside the masterclass that I walk you through exactly how to do that. And so if that is something that you are interested in, go ahead and register using the link in the description below. And I'll leave you with this. Build systems that make excellence inevitable and stop depending on heroes. I'll see you in the next video.